All right, this is Chad Gonzalez. This is my aspect assignment for Art of Theater. I decided to do the play Lost in Yonkers by Neil Simon. I read one of Neil Simon's plays, The Odd Couple, for another class, and I was kind of interested in the playwright, so I started looking at his work, and this was a play that I chose at random because I thought it sounded funny, Lost in Yonkers. So because of The Odd Couple, I chose this one, and it wound up being just a completely different type of story. There were like good jokes and comedy in the dialogue, so you definitely had a Neil Simon vibe in how the story plays out. But there are a lot of themes overall that are just darker in general. There's child neglect, there's mental disorders, mental abuse, and a lot of the characters are really just morally adverse throughout, apart from the protagonist, which is going to be Jay and Art. Um, so for this aspect, I chose the set. If I were to do something to be in charge of design, I do have a few ideas. So the play does take place in an apartment over the Kernitz candy store, which belongs to the grandmother. It's in Yonkers, New York, in 1942, in August, late August. So the war is there with Germany. It just hasn't been kicked off by the United States yet. So that's something that's kind of part of the conversation as they're going throughout the play. It's what the dad has in his monologues. Um, but Grandma's a very strict German woman. She's Jewish, I would assume, just through the way there's a way that she likes to pronounce their names, the traditional Jewish way, I suppose. But with it being taking place in the early 40s, I would assume that her furniture is going to be nice but dated. So it was something that would have been very nice to have in the 30s, when she first bought it. But since she's had it over the years and probably not changed much since then, it would just be dated furniture. So I started off from downstage and worked my way up. I did say it would be like maybe late 20s, early 30s at the most, at the newest. Nice enough to have company, but still, kind of conservative, traditional. This was, at the still beginning phases of the Industrial Revolution. Well, it was kicking off, but it was still a slow start. So older people would have kept more traditional and handmade furniture, so that's something that I assumed that she would have. Um, I also think that she would have a clean and tidy home. So Bella is the daughter that still lives with the grandmother. She's the one that's mentally disabled. Sorry. And since grandma is very controlling, I assume that she's going to have Bella doing all of the work, maybe all the hard labor. One, because of her age, and two, just because she's very conniving. Um, I think her home would be very conservative too, so it would be nice but not too flashy. Maybe, something in the traditional German or Jewish style. She, I would assume, immigrated from the First World War because she is a first generation immigrant. And so, it's going to maybe be something of that style or that era or from that location. Um, to have a proscenium theater, it would be the furthest pieces downstage would have the couch, and that would be center stage. And on the left of that, there would be, a reclining chair, not a reclining chair, but maybe a formal sitting chair. There's a couple of pictures that I have that I'll show in a minute that are very nice and very elegant, but again, something that you would imagine somebody to have in that time frame. Um, I like the idea. I didn't see it anywhere in the script, but I like the idea of having a lamp and like a bowl of candy on both sides. But it's something that's like one of those unspoken rules of the house that even though it's there and even though the main characters are kids, they even know better than to touch the candy. So I think that would be something to play on how, again, controlling the grandmother is to the kids from the start. I thought that would be an interesting piece to have there. So it was there just to be seen and not had, which would play on the irony that she owns a candy store. Like, why would you not want your grandkids to enjoy that? Um, the dining room table, I would like to have that in the background. Again, something that shows that she has money, but still has that traditional and maybe antiquated furniture. Um, as far as the entrances of the stage and everything, I would have the entrance on stage right as your act from the actor's perspective And then I would have the entrance to the hallway of the well, the brothers' room now, but it would have been the dads and the uncles back when they were children. And then Bella would have her room, so that would be down the hallway. And then Grandma would have a room that she enters and exits as she goes throughout the play. It would be very minimal. I don't think there would have to be a very elaborate set, but I think the background would definitely play a big role into how the style and even the mood would affect, or how the style would affect the mood in the play or in the performance. I think I was playing with the idea of candy still, so I like the idea of maybe the custom, maybe engraved wooden paneling on the bottom, and like a mint cream color on top. As far as wall, I was going to do a color wheel, but I didn't have the time for that. So the pieces of furniture that I played with were something here. Again, it's an older piece of furniture. It does look nice, but it's something that she's probably going to have preserved. Again, she's going to have covered. Not as far as to have it covered in plastic, but you know, she's going to try to preserve it. So I think she's going to be very strict about that. So there's a couple of other styles that I kind of went along with. Again, playing on that ice cream and candy, you know, chocolate colors, without being too bright of tone and still kind of playing that dark mood, to have darker, plainer colors. So playing off these colors of that. So something like pistachio or this wooden paneling. For grandmother's seat, I like her to have something more elegant. It's something like this where she has a writing pad. That's where she's still conducting business even though she's at home, but nice enough to have something that she could sit back in at the end of her day. So a couple of other pieces of 1930s furniture that I have down here, or just something set up that I like that play along with the colors that I kind of imagine. So something along this gentleman here that's taking place. I like the idea of a fireplace, but I don't think it would be necessary for the show. And then lastly, this is kind of a more accurate description, but again, with the fireplace, I'm not too much of a fan about. So that's my spiel.